I'm so excited. I've got 10 different Super Tuscan wines here, ranging from $30 to $100, some well-known, some lesser-known. Let's get into it.
I'm Matthew Horkey. For the last 7 years, I've traveled around the world tasting thousands of wines annually in search of the most unique, exciting, and expensive bottles on the planet.
They are loved the world over, but technically, Super Tuscan isn't really an official term. In the 1960s, the Italian government instituted a wine appellation law. They wanted to copy the appellation, the AOC laws of France, so they came up with the DOC or the DOCG system. This appellation system was meant to guarantee the origin of wines and build strong brand names for different types of wines all around Italy. When these laws were formed, for some reason, Tuscany, especially around Chianti, it required producers to blend in 10% of white grapes, Malvasia or Trebbiano, into the Sangiovese. Some producers felt like these wines were not very exciting, they were quite lean, they wanted to produce richer, age-worthy wines, so some of the first Super Tuscans were born, namely Sassicaia, which is a Bordeaux blend, and Tignanello, which is Sangiovese blended with Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. Since these wines weren't allowed to fit into the DOC, the appellation rules, the producers had to label the wines just Vino da Tavola, which means table wines, the lowest classification in Italy at that time. Those wines were selling at more premium prices, which was a little bit embarrassing for the consortios and the Italian government. These new generations of wines were either 100% Sangiovese or included international grapes like Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, or Petit Verdot. They were also aged in French barriques, like they use in Bordeaux. Traditionally, in Italy at the time, wines were aged in large Slavonian oak casks. The Antinori family claims that Tignanello was the first wine to be aged in new French oak barriques, smaller barrels, and ironically, now they're moving away from that and going back to large Slavonian oak casks. In the 80s and the 90s, those wines started taking off with the international market, and critics started to dub them Super Tuscans. They were big, rich, easy to understand, yet delicious wines, and that's why they caught on. Finally, in the 90s, the Italian government caught up, and then they established a classification system that was a little bit looser with regulations called the IGT system. And then Bulgari, where Sassicaia is from, also got its own DOC. Super Tuscans have kind of fallen out of fashion lately, but I admit that I really like them. Sometimes purists, hardcore wine geeks turn their nose up at me for liking these wines because they want 100% Sangiovese or the indigenous varieties like Cannello, Mamolo, Colorino, but I have to admit, I like Sangiovese whole, I like Sangiovese blended, and I like Bordeaux blends in Tuscany for some reason. I feel like they taste a little bit different. There's no way to classify Super Tuscan wines. I guess for me to consider it a Super Tuscan wine, either has to be Bordeaux grapes, Sangiovese blended with Bordeaux grapes, maybe those unique varieties like Cannello, Mamolo, Colorino, sometimes they're bottled on their own, or 100% Sangiovese that's labeled as IGT Toscana. Because now in Chianti Classico, you can make 100% Sangiovese. Enough blabbing, I'm super excited. We have 10 different Super Tuscan wines here, including the legendary Isole e Olena Cepparello, which was also one of the first 100% Sangiovese Super Tuscan wines. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get these blinded. Let's taste them. Tasting out of my Gabriel Glas Standart editions. I love these glasses, universal glasses. I'll put a link in the description below. These are my favorite glasses in the world. If you purchase with the link, it helps the channel out a lot, so I appreciate it. I'm afraid I might go super suckling style here because I like to drink these type of wines and give them all ridiculously high scores, but it is what it is. Let's get going. Once again, Corvin these babies, had somebody mix them up for me. Let's get it. I'm super excited to see if I can pick out the differences because there are a couple 100% Sangioveses. There's some Sangiovese blends with Cabernet, some with Merlot. There's some with indigenous local varieties too. Let's just get going here. I think one is Sangiovese. I love Super Tuscan wine, Sangiovese. Even Bordeaux blends in Tuscany, they have this real distinct tangy red fruit flavor. And I like red fruit, so that's why I think I like Bordeaux blends in Tuscany a little bit more. Sangiovese, I think sour cherry. It's got the earth, the pepper to a T. Number one's a delicate wine. That's not just all fruit. It's quite savory. There's a lot of length here. I think this is a wine that's probably gonna age super well. Number two, a little bit darker fruit, more black cherry type flavors. It's got this real attractive kind of muskiness to it, which I like. Do you like muskiness in wine? Do you like musky cologne, by the way? I think this might be a Bordeaux blend, but typical Tuscan Bordeaux blend. Some cassis comes to come out. Sometimes people think of Super Tuscan wines as being quite fruity. They can be quite savory. I remember the first time I had Sassicaia was with the shop owner, La Vita Turquese. It's a great shop in Barolo. He gave me a glass of 2000 Sassicaia, and I was like, I like it, but it's quite savory. I like, more the other Toscana IGTs, and he looked at me kind of condescendingly. He's like, more fruit, right? Ooh, wine 3 has more cedar. This is quintessential Tuscan wine. Sour cherry, cedar, black cherry, hickory. Oh, whatever 3 is nice. Explosive. It's so funny because on the nose, I thought it was super fruity, but on the palate, it was a little austere. The fruit, what I mean by that, it wasn't as fruity. Wine 4, darker. I definitely think it's a Bordeaux blend or maybe Sangiovese mixed in with Bordeaux varieties. The black cherry, and it's got this attractive orange peel note that's starting to come out. The tannins really come through here. That's a good wine, whatever number 4 is. Ooh, 5 has a little bit of volatility, maybe a little bit of age, which I kind of like. Wine always wants to turn to vinegar. When you have volatile acidity, you get a lot in some traditional Tuscan type wines. Oh, I like it. I like it. Hickory, cedar, sour cherry. I like that. It's got some tannin. Not everyone's gonna like it, but I do. Ooh, wine 6 is like pure crystalline flavors. I wonder if this is Sangiovese. Delicate. This is floral. Number 6 is really pretty. Number 6 is just up my alley. I think it's Sangiovese. Super pretty wine. Maybe my favorite so far. Let's move on to 7 and 8 here. These are all pretty complex wines. The problem when you do these type of tastings with serious wines, they're gonna change over time. I can't do an episode where I'm just tasting for 24 hours. These wines are going to change over time. I'm making snap judgments, but a lot of times I guess when you're blind tasting snap judgments, that's what you go for. 7 has a lot of menthol, which reminds me it might be a Bordeaux blend or have some Bordeaux varieties in it. It reminds me the nose of like Coonawarra Cabernet Sauvignon from Australia. Have some minty notes, some menthol. It has some tannin. That really reminds me of Coonawarra Cabernet. Wine 8, this to me is like, when I smell it, Super Tuscan. Sour cherry, black cherry, tangerine peel, earth type notes. It just smells really nice. This has a wonderful interplay between fruit, earthiness, austerity, but it's got tannin. It's a structured wine. Not everybody's gonna like it. Sometimes people like Super Tuscans that are round. This has some bite to it. I really want to have it with some bistecca. Hopefully I'll be going to Tuscany by the time this video is released. This is a type of wine that maybe not everyone's gonna like. I really like it. I'm gonna give it a high score. It's structured. It's really good. I used to not be so big on tannins. I've been lately getting into tannins, but it's so funny. Some people don't prefer them. I was with a Hungarian winemaker once. He's like, I don't like red wines. I said, why? He said, I don't want a liquid to dry out my mouth. I said, oh, fair enough. Ooh, wine 9 is super peppery. Black fruit, pepper, meat. I like it. Not as complex as some of the other ones, but I like the pepper and meatiness. It stands out. Let's go to wine 10 here. Wine 10. Is it Sangiovese or got a lot of Sangiovese in it? Sour cherry, black cherry. If you're blind tasting and your palate starts to get fatigued, to kind of reset your palate, you smell your hand, and that gives like a neutral flavor. It kind of resets your palate. That's what I had to do with this one. Oh, now, let's see, when I did it, now bright floralness comes out. 10 has a spike of acidity that I really appreciate a lot, and it's got length. Okay, I guess gotta compare what I scored as the 2 highest. I just want to double check here, just in case. Just in case. Oh, okay. There's some excellent wines here, by the way. All right, wine number 9. It was the gamiest, the most pepper, the most meat. I wanted just a tad more complexity here. I still think it was very good wine. I gave it 91 plus. Good stuff. You ready? You ready to reveal? I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's Sangiovese. I don't know if it's blended. There's only a couple where I felt like I knew what they were. Let's give this a go. This is shocking because in the past, this wine has scored super high for me. This is the Avignonesi Grifi Toscana IGT 2019, 40 bucks, 50% Sangiovese, 50% Cabernet Sauvignon. This wine usually ages well. It's usually my favorite wine from Avignonesi. Very good Vino Nobile da Montepulciano producer. That's how it showed today. It'll probably do really well because 2019 was a good vintage. Okay, let's move on. Actually, good value too. I've seen it. I'm gonna say 40 bucks, but I've seen it as low as 30. It is how it is. That's how it showed today. Wine 2, I thought was a Bordeaux blend. Black cherry. It had that muskiness to it. That's why I think it's a Bordeaux blend. It was darker. 92 points. I think it's very good. Let's see what it is. You ready to see what it is? I'm ready to see what it is. This This is not a Bordeaux blend. This is the iconic Isole e Olena Cepparello 2019. $100. One of the iconic Super Tuscans. 92 points. Musky, darker. I thought it was a Bordeaux blend. I thought that wine would show the best. To be fair, that wine, when it ages, is magnificent. So sometimes, you know, I'm drinking these wines young, but it is what it is. That's the power of blind tasting. Wine number 3 and wine number 7, 92 plus points tied. Number 3, Cedar, Hickory, Sour Cherry, more austere, 92 plus points. Thought it was very good. Let's take a look here. Gosh, I can't believe that Cepparello. This is the Badia e Coltibuono Montebello Tuscana 2016. This is all equal parts Cagniaiolo, Ciliegolo, Colorino, Fastiglia Tonda, Malvasia Nera, Momolo, Pugnatello, Sanforte, and Sangiovese. $60. Very good producer of Chianti Classico Vinsantos. Showed nice. Wine number 7 reminded me of a Coonawarra Cabernet Sauvignon, menthol, just dark fruit. I do think it has a high proportion of Bordeaux blend in it. 92 plus points. Let's see what it is. Wow. This is the Villa Trasqua 2016, $40. This is 50% Sangiovese with Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon blended in. So basically like a baby Tignanello. It's kind of the same blend, although Tignanello has more Sangiovese. This is $40. So pretty decent deal. 2016, fantastic vintage in Tuscany. Wine number 4, blackberry, orange peel, tannins, length, 93 points. I think it's some kind of blend, maybe a Bordeaux blend. The length here really stood out on whatever wine this is. Wine number 4, 93 points. Some serious stuff. Wow. This is the Capizana Trefiano Riserva Carmignano 2016, $59. This is one of the unique Super Tuscans that has a DOCG attached to it. Carmignano actually is near Florence, and it requires Cabernet Sauvignon to be blended into the Sangiovese. Those are the appellation rules. This is 80 or 90% Sangiovese with 10 or 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. They're also base level Carmignano is excellent, is a good value. I think this is excellent. You know, 93 points. It's a little more expensive, but it's a super good wine. Wine number 5. Remember I said it has a little more volatile, hickory, traditional type flavors. I think people are going to really like it. 93 plus points. Had some surprises here. Let's see how this is. Wow, this is a full-on Bordeaux blend. This is the Tenuta dei Cavalli, I think, which means horse. Cabernet Sauvignon Petit Verdot Cabernet Franc, $45, 2018. So funny, I judged with one of the employees at the Vermentino competition over the summer, and it so happened I was going to be in Chianti Classico the next week, so she stopped and dropped off some wines. It showed really nice. And before I reveal the top 4, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the bell so you know when new videos are coming out. Let me know, do you like pure Sangiovese when it comes to Super Tuscans? Do you like it blended with Bordeaux blends, or do you like full-on Bordeaux blends? Let me know. The top 4 here, some super serious wines. I have 2 tied for 94, 195, 195 plus. 8 and 10. 8 is just typical Super Tuscan fruit, tannins, has some structure to it. I thought very, very good. 94 points. Let's take a look and see what it is here. Wow. And I've really enjoyed this wine in the past. This is the Fattoria della Aiola Rosso del Senatore 2018, $30. This is Merlot and Sangiovese. I like to poo-poo on Merlot in Tuscany sometimes. 94 points at $30. You can only get it in Tuscany, but man, it's a heck of a wine. Number 10, Floral. I think this might be a Sangiovese. It's just a beautiful wine. Floral, the spike of acidity that's really got to me. That's what you get in Tuscan type wines, which I really like. 94 points. Let's take a look here. Wow. This is the Boscarelli de Boscarelli Toscana IGT 2018. This is Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, and Syrah. So like an old school Bordeaux blend, because Syrah was kind of illegally used in Bordeaux in the past to add some color to the wines. This has got a weird pricing. I've seen it for $100 in the US. I've also seen it for around 50, 60 in Europe. Great wine, great producer of Vino Nobile de Montepulciano, but cool, they can do Bordeaux blends too. Okay, the top two, I went back and forth between these wines. I do think that they were Sangiovese. Number one, the first one, it's delicate, it's Sangiovese, it's long. Let's see what this is. I'm excited to see. I was splitting hairs here, so 95, 95 plus. Okay, wine number one. This is the Fattoria le Pupille, the Poggio Valente 2018, 35 bucks from Maremma, 100% Sangiovese. Their most famous wine is the Saffredi, which is a Bordeaux blend. I think that this is their best wine for my palate personally, and at 35 bucks, I think it is a heck of a bargain. And then there was one, 95 plus. Really, really floral. I just thought it was typical Sangiovese. Pretty. Let's see what it is. If it is 100% Sangiovese. The Tenuta Carobbio Leone Sangiovese. And this is 2014. This is like not a good vintage in Tuscany at all. In all of Europe, 100% Sangiovese, 60 bucks. Don't know a lot about this producer. 95 plus points. Wow. Beat out some more famous wines. I'm really shocked about the Cepparello, but it is how it is. Let me know if you guys did tastings like this before and if you like Super Tuscans as much as me. Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.